Let's just be honest. Let's just be honest.
Be honest. Hey everybody, this is Kit Kat and I'm back with season 2 for the Honest Podcast. So today I have Henry joining me.
What's up?
He is the director of the Burns Falcons Club as well as vice president of the Motor City Federation. So today we're going to talk about what we experienced, what we liked and didn't like during COVID and after COVID as far as Pathfinder ministry goes. So what you want to bring up first, Henry?
First I want to say thank you for having me on. I think it's really important that people understand whatever you do in ministry or whatever you do anything in life, you're going to come up against ups and downs. You know, it's going to be hard. And so you should never go into anything expecting it to be easy all the time, because that's when you get very disappointed. When I started Pathfinder Ministries, you know, it was difficult, but as I continued to do it, it started to get easy. You know, I got into a routine. I'm like, okay, this is what I do for my Pathfinder meetings. This is our schedule. We go to these different churches, Pathfinder days, campouts, etc. Kind of got into a routine and it was feeling good. So I got to a point in my mind where I was expecting it to be easy. So once we came up against the COVID-19 virus and it caused quarantine and it caused so much turmoil, it became really, really hard. And since I wasn't ready for that, it took me by surprise, and I just kind of shut down because I wasn't ready for it. I think it's hard because we, as Pathfinders, are very social. I think that's probably the biggest, hardest part, you know. Not being able to have Pathfinder meetings in person, not being able to go to the different Pathfinder days at the different churches and events. You know, that's what makes Pathfinder so much fun, is getting all these different experiences with different people. And that, not having that personal interaction, I think that was the hardest thing that came out of this situation.
You know, I understand all of that. I feel where you're coming from. And for me being your deputy, it's terrible for me to say. When we first started during COVID doing the Zoom meetings, I was like, yeah, this is not it. I don't want to do this. I know if I don't want to do it, I know the kids aren't motivated to do it because you already have to do work in school through Zoom. And it's just, that was my least favorite part of the whole thing, was that you couldn't be social. You had to stay in the house. You had to do Zoom if you wanted to talk to someone. I'm like, all right, look, it's summertime. Once it got warm, I'm like, all right, I'll stand outside of someone's house and talk to them. I'm one of those people that like to be social. I like to stay at home too, but not for months. I was losing my mind. I was just going insane, and I'm really happy that now we're opening back up. We're doing our Pathfinder meetings. It's just kind of challenging because you have to wear a mask the whole time, which is why you try to want to do it outside so no one has to wear a mask, but then it gets cold, and you also got the kids that are complaining all the time about the weather, so it's like, all right, we have to do it with the mask. And then they want to complain about the mask. You can't help the kids either way because you're always going to have someone that's not happy with the way you're doing it. And one of the things that I really liked is that for Lake Region Conference, we actually had our boot camp this year. Even though it wasn't that many clubs that were present because of COVID, at least we got to see and spend time with people that we usually would see at Pathfinder days, and it's finally feel like, you know, it's going back to normal. And I think one of the things that benefit from COVID shutdown is that you have more kids wanting to do ministry stuff and get out the house. They're finding any reason to get out the house because they've been stuck in there all the time. So that's one of the good things that work from it.
Yeah, I think another one of my big problems, I would say the second biggest problem that arose from the COVID pandemic was we had kind of a falling away with our young people. You know, once people we stopped having Pathfinder meetings and death packs and everything. Once we stopped being as engaged and involved, it was so much harder to get people to come back because now people are involved in other things, or they're like, well, I'd rather stay at home because I'm used to staying at home. Some people went out and got jobs. And so now it's like we were at a point where we were moving along just fine. And then we get pushed back to a point where it's like, are we starting over completely? It almost seems that way. But that gave me a chance to learn. I just had to do my part. You know, I can't control everything that goes on. As long as we have young people at the church, as long as they're there, then I need to continue to push forward with ministry and do what I'm supposed to do. You know, I have a lot of new younger Pathfinders that are 10, 11 years old that are just coming in. You know, before the pandemic, they weren't involved in our ministries and what we were doing, but now they are. And so it's just going to keep moving forward. And it's not like you just forget about those, you know, that are a little bit older and they're doing their own thing now, but you have to continue to focus on what you're doing, especially in ministry. You can't get bogged down like, oh, these people didn't come, or somebody was here and now they're gone, and then you get depressed or feel bad about it, because it's not your job to see the whole process through. It's your job, you know, in youth ministries to start the process. Some people will fall away, some people will come back, but as long as you stay prayed up and stay on the path, you know, that God has for you, it's going to work out. And that's something I had to learn because it got really hard.
And you know, I do have to acknowledge this because sometimes Henry talks. He's very mature, so then you think that he's way older than he really is. We just need to acknowledge he is 24 years old. This is not an old man. He just sounds like an old man. He is 24 years old. And the fact that you even stepped up when you kind of didn't want to be the director, and then to interact and just experience the whole COVID situation, it must have been pretty discouraging.
Oh yeah, it got really, really hard. I got to a point where I wasn't having Pathfinder meetings. Nobody wanted to get on Zoom. Nobody wanted to do hybrid Pathfinder meetings where we meet some and do on Zoom. People like, I'm tired of Zoom. I don't want to do it. So I got to a point like, man, what am I even doing? Why am I even doing this? And I had to, this gave me a chance to grow as a leader because I thought I was doing pretty good. I thought I was understanding, but it's so much I didn't understand as far as when it comes to leadership. And that allowed me to lean on some of my mentors, you know, like Rick Fuller, our Motor City president, Venetia Roberts, coordinator Frank Richardson, and they helped me to understand leadership in a way that I didn't understand it fully before. So now it allows us to be able to understand how to pivot, how to adjust, and not let obstacles, you know, get in the way of ministry, but finding new ways to continue doing what you're meant to do, what you're called to do. And so even though it was hard, I still was able to get good out of it. And I think that's how we need to handle most situations in life. You look at something that's hard, but don't focus on the hard, don't focus on it upsetting you, but focus on what can I learn from this? How can I grow? How can I be better because of this situation? So next time I come up against something like this, or next time that I'm faced with a problem, I'll be able to either avoid it completely or I'll be able to get by it sooner. You know, that's just what we have to do in life, step by step. And, you know, I listen to a lot of sports, and one guy was encouraging his team. He said, everything that you ever wanted is on the other side of hard. You know, and so this right here, the pandemic, this was our hard. But everything that you want, the success of your Pathfinders, to grow in your ministry, young people coming to church, it's on the other side of hard. And so that's why I had to look at it to get through.
Well, see, man, I applaud everything that you're doing now because you're bringing the kids back, and they are willing and able to lead out. They want to teach honors. It's really cool to see. Some of them, they made me feel old. It felt like COVID was like 3 years because I promise you they did not. Some of them didn't have a mustache and a beard before we went and shut down. I don't know what happened. And these kids really motivate you. So for those people that are out there, that whether you're staff, you're a deputy director, you're a Pathfinder director, you're area coordinator, It doesn't matter what your role in ministry is. Make sure you don't, it's okay to get discouraged. You're not perfect. That's why you're supposed to have a team. You're supposed to have those friends to confide in with you. So sometimes you just got to vent. Sometimes, you just got to pray and you just got to trust God. It's much easier said than done. And we just hope y'all are out there. Make sure that we love you guys. Those kids love you no matter how much of a hard time they give you. They really do appreciate you pushing for them. Sometimes you're the only one that's doing it in their life. And just want to say thank you to all y'all out there. I hope y'all continue to try to go back to normal after this whole COVID thing. And, if you guys want to come on the show and just chat a little bit, you can email us at honestpodcast@hotmail. And you can come and support Henry at Burns SDA Church. You can always come by and stop by and say hi, because he is always here. Always here.
That's
and
so true.
I say that as a good thing. This man is involved. Now, all the young people out there, come on now. Okay? You cannot be willing to participate and be involved in ministry and not do it, all right? It's not fair to the youth in the church. A lot of us holding multiple roles because nobody else want them. Come on, y'all. If you want to change something in the church, now is the time. Be a part of it, but make sure you pray about it first. And we will see you guys next time. Have a nice day.
Let's just be honest.